What is up, everybody? This is CW, and we're back with another short NBA take. And this is in reference to the current 2023 NBA Eastern Conference Finals, which is pitting the Boston Celtics against the Miami Heat, which we're only one game deep, but I think this current run by this current player begs for a comparison, mostly because he's becoming a juggernaut. He's I've talked about playoff Jokic. Gonna link it in the put it in the header for you guys to check that out. And he's living up to his playoff Jokic status. But Jimmy Buckets, playoff Jimmy, whatever you want to call him, has become almost Jordan-like. I know I've seen some comparisons between playoff Jimmy and Kobe Bryant, and I guess there's levels to this. And Mike is like the final stage. That's like you've ascended into, if you're an anime person, Super Saiyan, or some kind of deity like Ascension. But I'm going to go straight to that godlike comparison, and because of just the way he plays, just the almost dog like and almost like it's like he's a rabid dog, a rabid wolf or something when he's out there this season, because he is not taking any prisoners. Even in losses, even when they're not doing their best, he's out there just, I mean, he's willing this team to victories, and he's willing this team to potentially going back to the NBA Finals. I know people like to talk about the bubble. Bubble's over. Do I count the bubble? Of course it counts, but I do put an asterisk by the bubble just because there were a lot of different variables in that scenario that helped certain teams and didn't quite help other teams. You have to admit that. That was a very strange and different time in our entire world during the COVID quarantines and the COVID restrictions and all of that. So you can't just say, well, the bubble was this or that. There were many variables. Some say it was a period of time, possibly. I need the stats on that. Some people say it was easier for certain teams. Need the stats for that. I mean, I lean towards it was built for certain kind of veteranship or veteran ran teams, other than, your kind of young guys who had a long layoff and then had to come back and play high level basketball. Much easier for veterans to do than it is for guys kind of new to the association. But wherever you are on that spectrum, it doesn't matter. Who the Lakers won a ring, that ring is validated by them hoisting it and hoisting the banner. So we're just gonna leave it at that. But what Jimmy Buckets right now is doing is just another level of just playing. I mean, he's carrying a team that, I mean, nobody gave the Miami Heat any chance, especially once they dropped from potentially being the seventh seed to the eighth seed and having to play what we thought was the overall favorite, the Milwaukee Bucks, with at the time a healthy Giannis. But of course, something happened to Giannis early in that first game, and they just never got on the same playing field. Some of that was Milwaukee. A lot of that was Jimmy Butler's just relentless attack on both ends. And it's just, if you watched Jordan in his heyday, if you watched him during that, either one of the three-peats, the guy was just a relentless player, much like Jimmy Butler. Even if he was missing, even if he was turning the ball over, even if he was shooting his team out the game, he was doing every single little thing, diving for the ball, getting back on defense. He was doing all the little things to assure that he left it all on the court, and there was no question whether he put every bit of effort into that playoff game, win or lose. And that's exactly what Jimmy Butler is doing, and that's what we're seeing right now in what could be an historic run by the Miami Heat, and most notably by Jimmy Butler. And you can see the quote in this picture. You know, Jimmy, I guess, looks up to Mike so much and just is a fan of Mike's that he would not put on the number 23. But right now, I'd say he needs to put that 3. He needs to replace that 2 on the other side of that 20 with a 3 because he is ascending into Jordan levels. And let's look at the stats. Now, these are Jimmy stats from the 2020 bubble to now, and these are Jordan's last three-peat numbers. And let's take a look at it. For Jimmy buckets, he's been averaging from 2020. He was averaging about 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 22 points. Nothing groundbreaking, but as we saw, he took and carried that Miami Heat when his secondary, his sidekick is Bam Adebayo, who I believe he had a back injury during that finals and wasn't quite. He couldn't quite give them all they needed. Other than that, they had some role players, but they really didn't have enough to beat that Lakers team. But they still were competitive. The next year, 2021, they didn't quite have the season that they wanted, didn't quite have the playoff run. He averaged about 7.5, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.3 steals, 15 points. You know, not the best from the Miami Heat. But let's look at last year. They had a long run. Jimmy Butler, 7.4 rebounds, around 5 assists, 2 steals, 27 points a game. Getting better and better each year. He's thriving. He's doing better. 2023 this year so far through 11 games. Now we're still early in that conference, Eastern Conference Finals, so these numbers can go way up. They can come way down. Right now he's averaged around 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, nearly 32 points a game. Jordan-like. And they've not only played some of the tougher teams, he's played the number 1 Milwaukee Bucks, the best team in the NBA. Got him out of there pretty quick. Played the New York Knicks, good scrappy team. Got him out of there fairly quick. Now they're playing the Boston Celtics, with Boston Celtics having home court advantage, the number 2 team, one of the better teams this whole season. Beat them on their home court last game. They play again tonight. So he has, and what is the constant in all of that is Jimmy Butler playing otherworldly every night. Whether it's a key steal, whether it's a key offensive play where he kicks it out to the right guy and they make it, or he just dogs his way into an offensive rebound and kicks it to somebody, or he dogs his way into an offensive rebound and puts it back. These things spark your team, and these things show the role players that, you know what, I got to up my game because our leader is playing like this is his last game. Now you look at Jordan through his last three-peat. 5 rebounds, 4 assists. We'll bump it up to 2 steals, almost 31 points. 97, 8 rebounds, about 5 assists. He went down a little bit in steals, but 1.6, we can bump it up to 2, 31 points again. 98, 5 rebounds, around 4 assists. Drop down a little bit more for the steals, but 1.5, we can adjust it to 2, 32 points per game. We could even say Jimmy's doing a little bit more. Granted, they don't play the same position. Jordan was a shooting guard. Jimmy's a small forward, but look at those numbers. Very similar. I can see the dog in Jimmy just like you used to see that in Michael Jordan. So really, truthfully, we've got to give some props to playoff Jimmy. He is playing so well, and he is, as I keep saying, he's willing his team to victories. Victories that most of us, I didn't give him any chance against the Milwaukee Bucks. 0. I said they were going to get swept. I thought their Knicks series would be a little more competitive. I thought that would probably go at least 7. this one, I was like, man, Boston coming off that huge win, that huge game 7 of the Sixers. They got the momentum. They got home court advantage. Miami, as far as good as they are, they're going to get them a win or two. But I think that this is just going to be Boston's series to win. And that could very well be the case. But that's not what we saw. What was that? Today's Thursday. That's what we saw Tuesday night. And what will we see tonight? And it's not just Jimmy Butler, but it seems like his play and his energy is transferring over to his teammates who are playing much, much better basketball than I ever expected some of those guys to play. Strus, Caleb Martin, other guys, Vincent. These guys are hitting shots at key moments. Duncan Robinson. All these players, I feel like, are feeding off of Jimmy Butler and what he's doing, and it's much like those Bulls teams where Jordan was the catalyst. Jordan was the one to keep them in games or get them ahead, but sometimes he just needed that extra push to get over that hump when playing those teams. That was your Steve Kerrs. That was your Tony Kukocs, your Scottie Pippens. He has some other B.J. Armstrong. These guys that hit key or important shots when Jordan had done all he could do to keep them in that game, whether it was on the offensive end or the defensive end. And Jordan haters can say what they want, but Michael played hard on both sides of the ball. If you never watched his game, then you can't say anything. I watched plenty of them, and he was a dog, whether it was shooting or whether it was trying to lock down or trying to get that steal or trying to keep them from scoring. Jordan was going 100 miles per hour the entire time. So with that said, I'm going to leave it here. Playoff Jimmy, do you think he's ascended into that deity level of Michael Jordan? Is he more of a Kobe Bryant assassin? What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys later on. Thank you.